There is a lot of rising tension between the Asian and Black American community, with Black Americans saying, let's boycott some Asian businesses, and Asian Americans saying, stop attacking our people.
I can smell it. A mainstream Blacks versus Asian people debate. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't coming from us. We don't want to be associated with that victim mentality bull. And for the most part, we don't give a First of all, you people, y'all got 3 legs. Be happy and move on. Right? Living with a resentful victim mentality is poison. You know, the energy we get from eating rice gets put into raising our families, building legacy, and contributing to a host nation, not destruction and tearing down someone who represents what you perceive as an oppressor. Right? We were raised with humility and shame. Shit happened in history. Shit will happen in the future. Japan got nuked twice, and they love America. You know, acknowledge the past, sure, invest in our future, merit over melanin, and contribution over controversy.
I try to be nice about the anti-blackness situation in the Asian community by educating racist Asians, but clearly victims don't want to learn. Therefore, if you're racist and you're Asian, make sure you don't have a accent. You make it easy for people to be racist back. I'm trying to help you out here. Second, you're not white. You'll never be white. White people will never see you as white. I think you fail to realize that a lot of these racist people you're trying to be a part of, MAGA, only know 3 races and ethnicities. Black, Mexican, and Chinese. And whatever Asian you are, you're Chinese. And third, don't build your businesses in black communities if you're racist. Go build it in white communities. See how much money you make there.
We have got Asian Americans on one side saying stop attacking our people, and Black Americans on the other side saying we are done spending our money where we are not respected. And right in the middle of all of that, you've got one voice in the video already trying to dismiss the whole thing, basically telling Black people to get over history, pointing to Japan getting nuked as some kind of argument for why Black people should move on. The comparison alone tells you everything about how some people fundamentally misunderstand what Black Americans have actually experienced in America. But then you've got another voice, an Asian American voice, who is willing to look inward, call out anti-blackness in their own community, and speak real truth about what accountability actually looks like. So this video is going to break all of that down. We are going to talk about the case that sparked all of this, the boycott, the deeper history, and who actually benefits when these 2 communities stay divided. This video is for educational purpose. If you find it interesting, remember to click on the like button and subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. Let's get into it.
In my opinion, the only person that wins as the result of us attacking each other, us unfairly discriminating against Black Americans unfairly discriminating against Asian Americans, are the bigots that support Rick Chow being found not guilty.
Black people are not the problem. The anti-blackness in our community is. Watching some of you tell on yourselves this week has been absolutely embarrassing. Every time anti-blackness becomes part of the conversation, too many of you immediately reach for the same playbook. Deflect, deny, play victim, blame Black people for noticing. The acquittal for Rick Chow happened. People are angry, and they should be. How does a 14-year-old Black boy end up dead and nobody is held criminally responsible? What shocked me even more is watching some Asian Americans spend more time attacking Black people instead of reflecting on why the reaction exists in the first place. What I keep seeing is a community demanding understanding while refusing to practice it, demanding grace while refusing to extend it, demanding support while refusing accountability. Nobody owes us their money. Nobody owes us their loyalty. Nobody owes us their silence. And if Black consumers decide they no longer want to support certain businesses, that is their decision. Many Asian-owned businesses have spent decades building themselves in Black communities, serving Black communities, and benefiting from Black communities. So when people start questioning those relationships, the answer can't be outrage. The answer can't be victimhood. The answer certainly can't be attacking Black people for speaking their minds. What some people seem unable to to process is that many Black Americans are not reacting to one verdict alone. They're reacting to years of experience, years of frustration, years of feeling disrespected, profiled, dismissed, and treated like a problem inside spaces where their dollars were always welcomed. A lot of us watched relatives and community members say things about Black people that would make them furious if somebody said the same thing about Asians. What's exhausting is watching the same folks spend more energy attacking Black people than confronting anti-Blackness within our own community. If your first instinct is to get defensive instead of reflective, you're part of the problem. As Asian Americans, we know exactly what it feels like to be stereotyped, excluded, and treated like we don't belong. That history should have taught us empathy. Instead, for some people, it taught entitlement. That's a hard conversation our community keeps avoiding. Black Americans are not responsible for fixing this. We are. And until more of us are willing to say that part out loud, we're going to keep having the same conversation over and over again, while wondering while trust keeps eroding. And that's the read.
The audacity, the level of entitlement to think that you can dictate how someone else decides to spend their money. There's still a mental ownership that other races of people wish to maintain over us. We're expected to rally in the streets for everyone's causes. We're expected to vote a certain way. We're expected to spend our money with certain people. And if we don't do those things, apparently we're racist or we're not a POC ally, as if everything that we've done in this country hasn't laid the groundwork for everyone else to come here and have any semblance of success. I just need people to remember that Black people are not anyone's slaves, physically or mentally.
And for all the angry Asians, if it's so racist that we not supporting y'all businesses no more, what was it when y'all wasn't never supporting our businesses? What was it when y'all came into our communities, set up shop, and never gave back to the community? What was that? Was that racist or no?
You're a idiot and an embarrassment to the Asian community for spewing this bullshit. People like you who side with injustice and anti-Blackness should be ashamed of yourselves. If you're going to speak on this case, at least speak facts instead of talking out of your ass. As the footage shows, Cyrus took 4 water bottles, changed his mind, and put them back in the fridge. There was no theft. Not only that, but as Cyrus was being chased by those 2 scumbags, multiple items fell from his possession, including his gun. He had no weapon when he was shot, and at no point did he pull a gun on anyone. There was no robbery. There was no assault. Those are the facts. And for the people asking, why does a 14-year-old need a gun? The answer is right in front of you. Because a 14-year-old was shot dead in the streets, despite doing absolutely nothing wrong. He never got the chance to go home. The system continues to fail Black people, but especially Black children. There is no denying that. When we have case after case showcasing us that. Cyrus Carmack Belton, Latasha Harlins, Trayvon Martin, and countless others. Yet some of you Asian sellouts would rather bend over backwards, making excuses than confront the reality in front of you. Same people who are quick to say stop Asian hate, or ask what about when Black people do this to us, suddenly have every excuse in the world when a Black child is the victim. Black people are constantly treated as suspects, criminals, and villains, even when they're the ones who have been harmed. I am disgusted and embarrassed by every single person trying to justify this. 14-year-old should have never lost his life over 4 water bottles worth $1. He deserved to go home. He deserved to grow up. He deserved justice. Not to mention, this was the 3rd time Rick Chow fired his gun during confrontation. And y'all really want us to believe that piece of shit was innocent? Rick Chow is guilty. Justice was not served. 14-year-old child is dead. And people are still trying to make excuses for it. The Black community has every right to be angry. Quite frankly, the Asian community needs to stop dodging conversations about anti-Blackness whenever they become uncomfortable. We cannot demand solidarity from the Black community while refusing to hold our community accountable when harm is done. If it weren't for the Black community advocating for civil rights and helping pave the way for many of us for protections and opportunities we benefit from today, Asian Americans would not be where we are. It is only right we use our voices to speak up, stand up against injustice, and hold our own communities accountable when harm is being done. That's what solidarity looks like. There's nothing you can ever say to justify a child losing his life over bottles of water that he didn't even steal. This is unacceptable, and I will continue calling it out every single time. Rest in power, Cyrus Carmack Belton. Justice for Cyrus Carmack Belton and his family. Stop using the black community as scapegoats to ignore the fact that 75% of anti-Asian hate crime offenders were white, especially when black and Asian communities are victims of hate crimes and white supremacy that is still prevalent today. Both black and Asian communities continue to experience racism that became especially visible and intense during COVID era and has not stopped since. Black communities were facing police violence, over-policing, and systemic racism during the height of Black Lives Matter. At the same time, Asian communities were facing a sharp rise in anti-Asian hate, with elderly Asians and women being disproportionately targeted. This didn't happen randomly.
COVID-19 name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. Has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung Flu.
When Donald Trump repeatedly called COVID the Chinese virus and Kung Flu, anti-Asian hate crimes spiked. Racist rhetoric from people in power creates real-world violence. And let's be clear, Asians did not start COVID. COVID is a zoonotic virus, emerged from animal to human transmission. Pandemic spread because of global travel, government failures, not because of Asian people. Blaming Asians turns a public health crisis into racism and violence. According to AAPI data and SurveyMonkey, Asian Americans are the least likely racial group to report hate incidents. Only 30% say they feel comfortable reporting to law enforcement. That's due to language barriers, fear of retaliation, distrust in police, model minority myth, and elders not knowing how or feeling safe enough to report. So when people say, where's the proof? Many cases never make it to official statistics. Now let's talk about perpetrators. A 2021 analysis of law enforcement data found that 75% of offenders in anti-Asian hate crimes were white. University of Michigan's Virulent Hate Project also shows that when race is shown, over 75% of perpetrators in reported incidents are white and male. Yes, some viral videos show black perpetrators, but social media is not data. Crime reporting overrepresents black suspects and downplays white perpetrators. Dividing black and Asian communities only helps white supremacy, not victims. So let's stop pitting the black community and Asian community against each other. This is about truth, accountability, and refusing to let racism pit marginalized communities against each other. Black people didn't cause anti-Asian hate. Asians didn't cause COVID. And lies don't protect anyone. Truth does.
It's actually crazy to me that black people are being called racist for boycotting Asian businesses. Like, we all see what's currently going on in the world. So, like, that's crazy. Like, first of all, that's not racism at all. And the thing is, if they are literally creating their business in order to specifically bring in the black dollar, then that just means that they're literally trying to literally take the black dollar from out the black communities and then not necessarily give back to those communities. They just want to take all of the money from black people because they know black people spend the most money when it comes to certain things. And so then they build stores of those certain things where they know black people spend the most money, and then they build it within black communities and then just take black people's money and then don't put that back into the community that they're a part of, where their business is. And also, it's confusing to me because if black people are no longer going to these stores, but there's no other races in those stores, then why are black people the ones that are being called racist for boycotting these companies? When if black people are that important to the company in itself, the company was literally built with the idea that this is specifically to gain money from the black community, which is kind of, interesting to say the least. But then that means that there aren't other races coming into these stores. So why is the anger only pointed towards black people? And it's because of the assimilation to whiteness that other people of color always have. Like, it's actually so insane to me. And it's like the issue always becomes black people rather than the actual system that was created not to benefit black people in any way. That also affects non-black people of color, but because non-black people of color want to assimilate so much to whiteness, they literally just take the stance of black people are bad. And so they blame the things on black people, and black people become the scapegoat for a bunch of situations when it's like realistically to the core, the issue is white supremacy. And I don't see that being a discussion that's being literally discussed and broken down and talked about at length. Like, it's just so crazy to me because it's like, it's so easy to just blame black people and call black people racist for boycotting Asian businesses. But it's like, let's look at everything that's been going on throughout these communities forever. Number one, these stores are specifically put into black communities to then get all of black people's money. And then also at the same time, other races aren't in the stores but aren't being called out for not going to those stores. It's just black people because now black people don't want to spend their money where they're not appreciated. It's actually wild.
My fellow Black Americans, I just want to say I am so proud of us because we are transferring our wealth back into our communities. We are recirculating our dollars back into our businesses. And again, it does my heart so much good. I am filled with so much joy because as a community, we endure much in this country, but we are coming to realize who we are and how powerful we are. I want you all to remember that when everyone else was calling it the Great Depression, we experienced the Harlem Renaissance. That's who we are and have always been. We just temporarily forgot, but we are remembering. I also want you all to consider that many think that this is just temporary. Oh, well, they'll settle down. Just let them calm down and they'll be back to normal. See, they don't see us as human. And in doing so, they continue to underestimate us. They thought the same thing after the election in 2024. Oh, give it time. They'll be back out in the street with their fist up, thinking that we would once again save this nation from itself by putting our lives and our bodies on the line, fighting for communities that do not like us, hate us, and disrespect us. And they've seen the error of their ways. It's time to show them again. This isn't temporary. That's why I'm glad that we are calling it what it is. It is a wealth transfer, a refocusing of our wealth back into where it belongs, our community. Because a boycott and a blackout implies impermanence, that things will go back to normal. That's what they expect. And I want you all to consider this. If ever or whenever you attempted to go to that beauty supply store that's just right around the corner, or that restaurant that's just right around the corner, or that gas station or convenience store or bodega, I want you all to remember how they speak to us. In spite of the tragedy that we have experienced, in spite of the horrific treatment that we have endured, while we have spent our money in their stores, being followed around like we have a second shadow, being accused of stealing, even to the point where they can falsely accuse us of stealing, take our lives, and not be held accountable by this injustice system. I want you all to remember that. I want you to remember how they are yelling and screaming at us. We are the customer base that has helped to build their communities in this nation, buy their homes, and send their kids to school and to college, to enable them to buy stocks in real estate and to set up their retirement. They just see us as a resource to extract wealth from us and nothing more. They do not respect our humanity or our dignity at all. They hate us. And the fact that they think that we need them when our people had to rebuild literally from nothing. And they think we need them. What are you going to eat if you don't come into our restaurants? What clothes are you going to wear if you don't buy them from us? As they have set up shop in our communities. Let's collectively remember that. Let's remind them of who we are. Again, I'm so proud of us. I love us.
This is a warning for everybody in the world. Take it as you will, ignore it as you do. Messing with the Black American community is costly to you and your generations and will be for the rest of your days on this planet. Especially if you are an immigrant who comes to America and you get this great life that you get to have here based on the backs of my ancestors, them fighting for the right for you to be able to come here and live. Every time you disrespect us, every time you think it's okay to talk down on our community, you will suffer. You will suffer. You don't know who we are, and that's okay. You don't know what we've done. You don't know what we know and what we can do. And while we choose not to do it, you don't know a thing about the Black American community. And you are not in a place to speak down on us when you come to our home. But the warning is here. Every time you even speak guile against my people, you will feel exactly who we are. Thank you.
Nah, but for real though, bro, I've seen more of them speak out against black people boycotting than an Asian guy unaliving a 14-year-old that was running away from him. He actually chased him down to unalive him. Bro, it just shows you the mind state of these people, bro. They're not with us. They're not for us, bro. These people are more upset than at a boycott, which is just hurting pockets, money, something material. The natural life that was lost. Bro, oh my. So, did you guys not have a Wi-Fi connection? Was your phone battery dead? You know, when the Rick Charles stuff was happening? Because it seems like all your phones are working right now. All your phones are working right now. You guys got the most to say, bro. You guys don't speak out against no racism done to blacks as soon as blacks boycott. Bruh, not everybody's Rick Chow. We didn't do nothing to you guys. Why are you boycotting us? That's racist. Black people are racist. Bro, come up out here, bro. Black people, I'm so proud of you right now. Keep going. Keep going, bro. And this ain't a boycott. This is long term, bro. This forever. Keep going, bro. Keep going. And not till they respect us. No. You should have been respected us. Even if you do start to respect us, we still shopping black, bro. Me personally, bro, I've not ate no stir-fried rice, nothing. And let's be real, that stuff be making you feel sick anyway. I don't know what, yeah, bro, we know what they cooking it with, bro. It ain't chicken. But anyway, bro, I'm proud of you black people, bro. Keep going. Don't let them try and manipulate you to thinking you racist, bro. If you want to, so, who cares?
One of the most powerful things I took away from watching these clips is what some of the Asian American voices in this video are willing to say about their own community. The fact that too many people responded to that verdict not with reflection, but with deflection, denial, and attacks on black people, that is both honest and damning to acknowledge. One speaker said straight up, if your first instinct is to get defensive instead of reflective, you are a part of the problem. Another that hits hard because this is not just about one incident. When a community causes harm or benefits from a system that causes harm, the morally mature response is accountability, not victimhood. The segment of Asian American community that responded to a dead black child by turning around and attacking black consumers who simply questioned where they spend their money revealed something that people in the black community have felt for a long time. That their pain is inconvenient to people who still want their dollars. Let me be real clear about something because some people out there are still genuinely confused about this. Boycotting a business is not racism. Full stop. It's one of the oldest and most powerful tools of resistance black people have used in America. Montgomery bus boycott, Greenwald's Black Wall Street, economic solidarity and economic withdrawal have always been instruments of black resistance and black self-determination in America. When black consumers decide they no longer want to spend their money in spaces where they get profiled, disrespected, followed around and treated like suspects, that is not racism. That is dignity, as I said. That is self-respect. Nobody owes any business their loyalty, their silence, or their hard-earned dollar. And the audacity to turn around and call that racism while conveniently ignoring decades of anti-black behavior inside some of these very businesses in black communities, The double standard is something else entirely. And here is the point from those clips that I want you people to really sit with. If black consumers are so essential to these businesses that a boycott threatens them to shut them down completely, what does that actually tell you? It tells you the business was built on black dollars in black communities for black spending, and yet the community itself never saw respect, the reinvestment, or even basic human dignity in return. That is not partnership, that is extraction. We cannot have these conversations honestly without talking about what black Americans have contributed, not just to these individual business relationships, but to the entire legal and societal structure that allowed other communities of color, including Asian Americans, to build lives and businesses in America. The civil rights movement was paid for in black blood, black jail cells, and black lives. It reproduced the legislation, the protections, and the cultural shifts that opened the doors for every marginalized group that followed. Many of the Asian American families who came and built businesses in black neighborhoods in the decades after the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act, which transformed who could go to America, was passed in the wake of civil rights pressure. Many of the Asian American families who went to America and built businesses in black neighborhoods in the decades after arrived in an America that black people had literally bled to reshape. That history is not raised to create some kind of debt ledger or to hold over anyone's head. It is raised because solidarity has to be reciprocal. You cannot benefit from someone's struggle and then turn around and treat them with contempt when it gets uncomfortable. Now, here's where I think the sharpest point in those clips lands. Dividing black and Asian communities only serves white supremacy. When two marginalized groups are locked in conflict with each other, the system that oppresses both of them gets to keep running without being challenged. The data referenced in those clips back this up hard. 75% of anti-Asian hate crime offenders are white. During COVID-19, when anti-Asian hate spiked dramatically in America, it was fueled by racist rhetoric from powerful political figures, not by black communities. And yet somehow the conversation kept getting redirected toward black perpetrators highlighted in the viral videos, which, and this is so important, is not data. Social media systemically overrepresents black suspects and downplays white perpetrators. This is not a coincidence. This is the machine doing exactly what it was designed to do. And this is something that black Americans have watched play out over and over again in America. Non-black people of color get pressured, sometimes subtly, sometimes not subtly, to align themselves against black people rather than against the white supremacy structures that are actually hurting everybody. One of those clips calls it assimilation to whiteness. And honestly, that is true. Adopting anti-black attitude has long been one of the unofficial entry tickets to proximity to whiteness in America. But here is the thing. It does not make anyone safer. It does not make anyone truly accepted. It just makes you useful to a system that needs someone else to absorb black anger so it can keep operating without disruption. And this right here is a part of that video that genuinely moved me, because one of the speakers makes a distinction that I think is everything. Stop calling this a boycott. Call it what it actually is, a wealth transfer, a permanent, intentional redirection of black economic power back into black communities and black-owned businesses. That reframing matters more than people realize. A boycott says we are angry right now and we will stop spending here until something changes. A wealth transfer says we are done. We are building something for our own and we are not coming back. Here is straightforward. And I'm here for it completely. Black Americans are not a resource to be extracted from. They are not a captive consumer base. They are not anybody's economic safety net. They are people with agency, with history, with enormous spending power, and with the absolute right to decide where their money goes and what kind of treatment they will not accept in exchange for it. According to me, that was the key takeaway from all of those clips that we are reacting on. If you've got anything that you can say about what those people were saying, feel free to drop down there in the comment section. Mr. TA, your African brother signing off. Ciao.